honey, shaking now, now, get 'em up downtown. Get your rocks off, get your rocks off, honey, shaking now, now, get 'em up downtown. Get your rocks off, get your rocks off, honey, shaking now, now, get 'em up downtown. Get your rocks off, get your rocks off.
There we go.
Are we live?
Well, we're live, and now we are unmuting everyone, so...
Oh wow, look who's in the house. Hi guys.
Hi Emma.
Are you okay?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Fabulous to see you all. Nice one, Phil.
Welcome to the live LUF Lounge. We're live streaming on Facebook.
Sorry.
And we've got Glenn there monitoring the stream, encouraging people to share. Why is it important that we share this? Because the more people that hit the share button, the more people that are likely to see it. And one of the ways we can change hearts and minds, if we invite people into this space who ordinarily wouldn't find themselves here. So hit the share button and hit the like button. And we've got some ways to enter the competition tonight. And that's how you can do it, by hitting the like and the share button. But we'll regularly remind you throughout the show. Yeah. And feel free, guys, to prompt them to share as well.
So just really quickly, there's a couple of things that come in last night. So we're coming live and direct into your front room tonight. So if you are struggling at home with isolation and addiction, then get in the comments. And we can signpost you to some of our beautiful community and people that we know that can help you. Lots of different ways into recovery these days. Not like back in the day when there was nothing. Just really interesting. A comment came in on the Euro Input. Massive shout out to Matt the other day.
Matt
Southwell, yeah. And somebody had commented on one of the polls saying recovery from what? Really great question. So addiction, you know, I want to say, but with addiction comes a lot of trauma, comes a lot of past. So, you know, not all of us have spent many years in therapy. You know, some of us have just found it. Some of us are still out there bang at it, trying to use successfully. But the Lancashire User Forum, when we was in real life, was a space that we created so everyone is welcome. It's not one size fits all. It was for everybody. From our drug using community, our recovery community, the family members, professionals, all able to occupy the same space and design and develop plans for treatment agencies, you know, plans for treatment centres, because your voice is important, you know, the voice of the service user, the experts by experience. Without you, it is nothing. So, yes, you, calling all service users. So I know that they want in some service user voices in Blackpool as well to help design the systems in Blackpool when we come out of this COVID, you know. So voices can influence systems, design. Yeah. Don't look too excited, guys. People smile. You know, these are all people. God. Yeah. You know, hearts set on fire. And I'm really passionate about it. You know, it's what I get out of bed for in the morning. You know, a massive advocate for the women as well. We've also had a message of Phil in Phil.
Campbellview.
Yes, Campbellview. He wants to come drop in and tell us about his experience during COVID in a psychiatric ward. So I said, hey, why not come on next week?
Recovery from mental health as well. So Campbellview is a local medium secure hospital, and they're just salt of the earth. I can't think of a better way to articulate how these staff members and community, you know, patients, how they integrate and how they roll really. And they've invited us in on many occasions to be a part of what we do and vice versa. And I think they come onto the training, they love it. And what I love about them, when they come into the Lancashire User Forum, they're normally about 10 or 12 strong, and you don't know who's the staff and who's the patient. you just see people first, and I just think there's something about the relationship you create when you say, you know, all right, I might be here as a practitioner and you might be here as somebody who's using this service, but you know, we can still we can transcend some of those barriers without breaking them, and they do it perfect in Kemple View. Big shout out to you guys. Out to
Kemple View, and Phil, yes, we'll get you on next week. I'm just looking at all these gorgeous people on here. Should we do a round of introductions?
Oh, we might as well, eh? We've got a brilliant lineup of guests, haven't we?
Is that Curly Watts in the corner?
I told you, she will just drill straight into it. It's Curly from Corrie.
Oh, hi, Kennedy's. Kennedy's in the house.
Kennedy's.
You know, welcome, guys. I've been watching the work you do for some time now, and it was Bev up in our Bev Webster who pulled you in on the comments and started the dialogue, and it was like just a brilliant example of how technology has brought about a long overdue conversation. Dead glad you're on. And I remember Curly from the Ardrey days. Some of you guys won't know about the Ardrey. You've got to be born and reared in Manchester. And the other club was the Reno. I bet you frequented the Reno once or twice, didn't you?
Look at that, look.
Right, you're muted. Why are you muted, our kid?
Oh, there you go.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Hi. I thought you was quiet.
No, very much. The Ardrey was probably the only real honky tonk kind of bar dance hall in the UK that was anything like the ones in America. It was proper Wild West, right in the middle of Moss Island.
Yeah.
And the Reno, of course, I've been in there many a time with a can of red stripe in one hand and something else. I've done all that. Yeah.
What's the real deal? I mean, you was on Corrie, but we all knew in Manchester you'd be right around some of the, you know, more hairy places, getting down with the guys.
I wasn't good at that. I wasn't very good at that. Stringfellows and all that. You know why? I'll tell you what, because I hated the music. I stopped listening to music around about 1980, around there, popular music, because I just hated it. All that Stock Aitken and Waterman stuff. Couldn't stand it. I just wanted guitar bands. And I've got a kind of history, a rock history, which is around guitar bands and what have you. And I couldn't face it anymore. And so I started playing with bands because it's the only way I could listen to decent music.
Andy's dead antisocial. He doesn't really like speaking to people. So he'd always get behind a guitar.
And you could drink more.
Great front man. Great front man.
Well, we was just talking.
You can drink more on the stage as well.
We was talking about how, you know, General Franco and the critique of the recovery community, let's all come together shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. And you was telling us how music overcomes some of that Spanish civil. I mean,
basically what happened was Franco was a dictator. I think he started in the early 30s. He didn't die till about 1977. So Spain was still a fascist country. That's why you couldn't topless sunbathe on the beach, and if you went in a church, you'd have to put a hat on, because it was still very much a fascisto country. And the people in the north of Spain, or especially around Barcelona, they speak Catalan, which is totally different from normal Spanish. It's like Welsh is different from English, and they were his main opponents. And he banned the language Catalan. You're not allowed to speak Catalan, but he didn't say anything about singing it. So that's why all these fans used to turn up at Barcelona FC and they'd sing their chants like you would if you're United or City, but they'd sing it in Catalan because it was a way around it. So they got to speak their own language. And it was very much a unifying experience because there was 100,000 people all singing in Catalan. And that's how they got around it.
Hey, do you know, Glenn, there's your theme for the LUF Marathon. Let's get everybody around the UK singing one song,
Oh, that's a good idea.
shoulder
that,
to
actually.
shoulder.
That's a good idea, that.
Wouldn't it be a great way to
That's
bring
a
people
project.
together?
I like it.
I love it.
We're on it.
You know, already contributing
I
to the
love
wax.
that.
It's like, nice one, man.
In fact, anyone out there who's got any suggestions on what songs, because I always go to Primal Scream. I always go to, you know, the 90s Oasis as well, like a bit of Oasis. You know, something train spotting-y.
Oh, we could do something a bit more. Like,
That's
uh,
Curly.
What about the Proclaimers? That's what I'd go to.
Proclaimers, that's us!
I would go 500 miles.
D-Ream, things can only get better.
Hey, carry on.
I love Scotland. We love it in
I love
Scotland.
Scotland.
Oh, the Scottish.
Let us sing now, Claire, because I know you're a fan.
Which one? Which
I
Claire?
would go 500 miles.
And I would walk 500
500 more. Why have you made me do that already? I've already sang already.
Oh, see, we're already on it, aren't we? But if anybody is confused, the conversation was about General Franco in the green room, so they've just carried that on. If you're confused, we can get it out there at another date.
Yeah.
Have a live conversation.
Just hit the like and share button, and it'll all make sense further on down the line. And you can win a £20 voucher. We will pick the names of people who hit the like and share button when we announce last week's winner. We'll pick the names and announce it next week. A £20 voucher
For where?
for just hitting the like and share button.
But where can you shop with the voucher?
Wherever you want.
Okay then.
But not until the 15th.
But not
Not
until
until
the
the
15th.
15th. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we've got
Thank
to
you
give
for
away
that,
last
Kev.
week's prize this week. Am
Yeah.
I shouting?
Yeah.
Oh, see, it's only a look now. Conditions, you know, Skinner's dogs, when they ring the bell, she just gives me the look.
This is your stuff. This is your stuff spilling out virally. Okay, just coming on to Alex in
Well,
the
hold
house.
on, we've got, it's not just Kevin, it's Claire. They come as a two-way street. Kennedy
Hi,
Street.
darling.
It's two-way street, Kennedy Street, innit? You're on mute.
Yeah.
They're not.
Can you see what I did there? With why we call it Kennedy Street? Kennedy
Yeah.
Street. Coronation Street.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's beautiful to get to know you, Kevin, and because I just see Curly.
Well, you know,
Curly.
because of an international sex symbol, you can't help it.
I know, I know. But it'll be nice to get to know Kevin.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember Red Rose for some reason, it sticks in my head of a barge.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a
barge, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Captain, give him a bed in heaven. Captain Kirk used to be the captain of the LUF boat. We called it the LUF boat. What a guy! What an awesome
He's no
guy,
longer
man.
with us, and many others as well. And we love you. We love them all.
Do
Have you
know,
still got the barge?
It sunk.
we pumped it back into we got it floating again.
Oh, I am joking. He didn't.
We
really
passed
sink.
it on to a recovering alcoholic who wanted to do a similar project in Leicester, and he wanted to carry on the work we was doing. And we said, you know, by all means. So it's still living a good life as a means to connect with people.
Good. Still in service. That's all that matters.
Good service.
Yeah, the boat is. Yeah,
The boat. Yeah.
the people aren't.
There's a great story behind that boat, which one day we'll have to write a book and
I know.
chronicalise the Lancashire story,
I
the
know.
Lancashire model.
Because there's not enough time, is there?
There isn't. Moving swiftly on, we've got Alex and Andrew from
Walter Lyon House.
Walter Lyon, and it's not just Walter Lyon though.
Acorn.
Where are you from, guys?
Oh, I'm from Waterline. I work at Waterline House, and Andrew.
I work at Old Cliff House in Lancaster. We have two properties, Old Cliff House and Portland Street, which is supported housing projects for homeless people. And obviously with homelessness, there's often a lot of self-medicating issues. So that's why I'm here today, really.
Awesome.
And you're welcome.
Yeah, welcome to
Thank
my
you.
house.
And you guys are going to share with us a bit of your own story as well as a bit of the service you provide. So
Yeah, can I just come in again a little bit, Pete? So just so I can explain what Waterline House is, I suppose, and I'm going to explain it later, obviously, but just so everybody knows as we're going through what we're doing now. So Waterline House quickly is a 13 bedroom supported housing project for people with trying to battle substance misuse issues, and they'll go through it a little bit more when it comes round.
Nice to see you, Alex.
yeah, nice one.
See you.
Nice to see you.
And we've got underneath on the screen as it looks for us, we've
oh.
got
Oh my God.
the not so sinister.
Back by popular demand.
Hello.
Hello, there you are.
Nick, we love you, dude.
Thank you very much. I'm
We
alive
love
and well.
you. I love you coming in.
So I'm Pastor Mick Fleming, the Sinister Minister, and I'll give you a word of the week later on when you're ready. I'm up for it. I'm well up for it today, so I'll be ready.
Yes. Full of the Holy Spirit.
We'll look forward to it.
Yes.
Plenty.
Claire Helm Fawcett.
How
I know.
who are you?
Yeah.
The thorn, it's a thorn in my side, I tell you. I have to spell it out every single time. Anytime I'm on the phone, I've got to spell it out for me. That's how I learnt the police alphabet thing. And sometimes I just make that up. Don't say Bravo, say Bertie. That always gets a bit of a laugh, especially if you're with a police officer. Bertie 5. No, it's not that, it's Bravo. Anyway, I'm Claire. I'm from We Are With You, formerly Ad Action. And then I'll go into a little bit more of an expo later.
Ad Action in house. Awesome.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Ad Action.
Formerly known as
Yeah.
Ad Action.
So
Now
we're
known
like,
as.
we're with them.
We are with you. We are with you. We've changed our name. We are with you.
We are with. Sorry. Maybe
Oh, I like that. I like it.
That could be the one.
could be the one.
That could be the one.
Dream tune.
This is the one. This is the one. Right, we're losing our minds now, guys.
Welcome. We're not even into the introduction yet. We're 20 minutes into the show. We're
Okay.
terrible with
Listen,
time.
let's just introduce Phil right now. Phil Dalton in the house, our very own.
Live and direct, doing the rock down in the lockdown.
Our very own guitarist.
And you're still on mute. You won't be playing tunes while you're on mute, mate. Hiya, Phil. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me back.
Where are you, Phil?
Sorry?
Where are you now?
I'm in Huncourt. No, Hapton. Hapton now, at my girlfriend's house.
North Hampton. Where is your girlfriend?
Oh, she's just here on the couch.
Hi,
Hi,
what's her name?
Hi, Phil's
this is
girlfriend.
Donna.
Hiya, Donna.
Come and
Hi.
Hey, Donna.
Hi. We love you,
Oh,
man.
she's gone all red.
Oh, Phil, I love you, dude. Nice one.
And then we've got our very own
Bev.
Capitan.
Yeah.
No, we'll get around.
Oh.
Save the best till that. We've got our very own Glenn, our Capitan.
Hi, I'm Glenn. I work for Red Rose Recovery and an advocate of Lancashire User Forum. It's a massive place in my heart because it's where I started off and give me the platform to progress. So that's why I'm here. I just going to say as well, the more you like and share this platform, the more people you're going to reach, which potentially could help save their life. It could get them into services. So I would just say share and like. And if you do that at the end of this stream, well, we will announce it on next week's LUF Lounge. You can win a £20 voucher, as Peter said, and we'll do it randomly through a platform called Name Generator, where we press a button and it just picks out the random people. So the more you like and share, the more chance you've got to win.
Are we going to do that live next week?
We'll do that live on here next week, yeah.
So tonight we'll announce the winner last week.
Yeah.
And next week we'll announce the winner live using the name generator.
Yeah, but what I must say, Go on.
Sorry, Glenn. Am I all right to make that 40 this week, and we'll throw in another 20?
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
We are with you.
Yeah.
So that's
We'll have it,
Is that all right?
£40, guys.
All you've got to do is hit the like and share button.
Yeah, the like one is it is really important because we can't monitor the share ones. So you've got to share it and like it, and then we can monitor it, and then your name can get put into that hat.
So we're depending on you, to be honest, that you will share it and not just like it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and share, because you never know who's watching, and you never know. As hope dealers, because we deal in hope today.
Oh, you've done it.
As a hope dealer, I like to give the hope shot. So we have sometimes we might only get one chance, one opportunity to change your life, to speak into somebody's world. In your front room this morning, whoever you are, but we know we're talking to somebody.
So hit the like and share button. Next week,
hope.
We'll pick a winner, and £40 will drop into your world.
Boy.
I'm getting on
£40. £40.
I feel like getting on a soapbox and preaching. Mick, are you with me? Are you with me, brother?
Glenn, I just want to remind you to make the connection with the Kennedy Street guys, because the work you developed in HMP Wymot Prison, what they pay us to deliver, I think we should share that model with those guys, share how we did it, because they're doing some similar work, but I think they're doing it for free, when they should be getting paid for that.
And the question I learned to ask Claire was, have you got a budget for that?
But we'll pick that up. And Glenn, Claire, Glenn, guys, the connection's made.
Yeah.
I'll to pass your phone number on out to Claire.
Yeah.
Threw it on the toes a bit then.
I just want to stop there a minute. It's like, because there's worth in that. There's self-worth in that, Claire. There's like, your product is worth something.
No.
Time and investment. This is my life. This is a result of the decisions I've made in my life. So 25, and you've written something around it, I'm presuming. So there's got to be attached a value to that.
Do you know Claire has served time in prison? Haven't you, Claire? No, I mean, I won't mention the big long swinging willies or anything like that. But
yeah, it was in my youth when I was living in Saudi Arabia. It was not anything that I'm proud of, but I lived in Saudi Arabia from the age of 16 to was 21, and towards 21 years of age, I was found out at a illegal drink and drug party, and we got 5 nights in prison, in a Saudi prison. It was not a nice place.
Oh, we need to catch up.
The religious police come in and
whipped us. Started off with a whipping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then put us in prison. And thankfully, I mean, God knows what would have happened, but thankfully, my mum and dad had just come to the party to pick me up, and so I got my mum and dad arrested as well. Like you do.
Like you do.
I
just on my own.
Found it hilarious. So when you was describing the antics, they were messing about and they made like men's penises out of bread and was just messing about. So can you imagine the religious police have come in and clocked that? And it's like,
wow, the religious police.
They were really strict. It's a completely dry country. It's illegal to drink or do drugs, which we were doing both. And it's also illegal in Saudi Arabia for men and women to mix that aren't married. So we were committing 3 crimes. And the 4th crime was these lads had thought, for a laugh, we'll put on like a bit of a stripper show. And they had these giant penises made out of bread with these big bread balls. So when we were actually arrested and we went into the office to get told off and told we were going to get put in prison, he pulled this big bread willy out from under the desk and started waving it around going, "Is this yours?" I was like,
oh wow, Claire, you are a woman of hidden talents, darling.
It's amazing. Amazing.
Okay.
I'm not going to try and follow that, Pete.
Okay, so hit the like and share button, guys, and we'll finally get through the introduction. We've been
Absolutely.
saving our Bev till last.
Yes, Glenn, go on.
Can I just come in as well and say that if anyone on the stream, if I'm looking down at my phone, it's because I'm going through the stream. So if anybody's got any question for the guests, get them on the stream and I'll try and get them into the guests. So that's where you get your questions in.
Yeah, and I'd say suggest ask away, guys, because we're already on 5:30. Time is short. We're running out of time already.
And just
Bring it
before,
nicely round for Bev.
well, before we finish the introductions, it would be rude not to say we've got our very own Bev, who's going to come on. And what are you going to share with us, Bev?
Well, I'm going to bring a bit of doom and gloom to LUF Lounge, I think. So I'm going to talk about what happened to me after I'd started to recover from alcohol and all the illnesses I got because of drink. But I think it's important how, when you give up drinking, it damages you so much to drink that you end up, I ended up with all sorts, and I'm sure there's other people, and especially if people are thinking, oh, why do I feel like this? It just might, make them go to doctors and just have it checked out. Anyway, I'm Bev. I work for Red Rose Recovery, and I'm part of the East team, and I'm also a massive part of the Lancashire User Forum. But I end up doing all boring bits in that as well somehow. So
amazing.
The backbone.
You're amazing, Bev. We love you.
Yeah, you do the bits that enable everyone else to do their bit. You are the backbone. And just a little teaser. When we first met Bev, it was because our coaches was going into the hospitals to meet clients who was coming through alcohol addictions. And Bev doesn't remember, when our coaches made that introduction and built them relationships. But a couple of weeks later, when you came round and the relationship started to form, and I think that's a beautiful partnership between the clinical aspect and the social aspect, and how our trained up volunteers was able to provide a connection. Because I remember, I knew who you was, Bev, way before I ever met you. Because Emma had spotted your skills and your talents that was underneath the surface, and it's just been a pleasure watching you grow and flourish over the last couple of years now, is it?
3.5. 3.5 years it is since I came in. Well, I joined Red Rose straight from hospital, really. So, yeah, it's 3.5 years ago now.
Okay, Bev, the floor's yours, honey. The floor is yours.
It's not, because
I'm not first.
I'm going to open it up with a rock down in the lockdown with Phil. Into some music.
Yeah, man.
Did Glenn have something to throw in then? No. All right.
Phil, the floor is yours, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, I'm Phil Dalton. I've come mainly to play a song. But I thought I'd tell you a little bit about, my past and my story and that. Tell you what I'm doing these days, just to help with my recovery and keep me sane and sober and that. So, yeah, so I've been clean about just over 3 years now. So through my life, I'd always just been like a drug user, a constant drinker. Things just got worse and worse till, in the end, I would have been happy to die, I think. But since going to rehab and, getting clean, well, everything's changed now. I'm doing a college course in mental health. So with that, I'm hoping to one day, work in the recovery area. Yeah. So, yeah. Really, I want to talk about how much playing the guitar has helped me, because it helps me with my mind. When my mind just won't shut up, I can't sleep at night. I'll just pick up the guitar and, it just helps me to connect with my feelings a bit more and, you know, get it out. Because I'm not really much of a talker around my friends and that, but I find that playing guitar, it just gives you something to focus on, something to always work at, something you're always improving at. Let me think. Yeah. Anyway, my mind's gone blank now.
I just want to say, Phil.
So I'll just play a song, yeah. Right.
What are you going to sing for us?
I'm going to sing The Importance of Being Idle.
Okay, then.
Here we go. I sold my soul for the second time, 'cause the man, he don't pay me. I begged the landlord for some more time. He said, son, the bills are waiting. My best friend called me the other night. He said, man, are you crazy? My girlfriend told me to get a life. She said, man, are you lazy? But I don't mind, as long as there's a bed beneath the stars that shine. I'll be fine if you give me a minute. My mind's got a limit. I can't get a life if my heart's not in it. But I don't mind, as long as there's a bed beneath the stars that shine. I'll be fine if you give me a minute. A man's got a limit. I can't get a life if my heart's not in it. Woo! I lost my faith in the summertime, 'cause it don't stop raining. The sky all day is as black as night, but I'm not complaining. I begged the doctor for one more line. He said, son, the words fail me. This ain't no place to be killing time. I guess I'm just lazy, but I don't mind, as long as there's a bed beneath the stars that shine. I'll be fine if you give me a minute. A man's got a limit. I can't get a life if my heart's not in it. Thank you. Oh, can I just say about this group I'm part of called Stage Fright? Yeah,
Yeah.
good. It's we have like a band. We put on plays and productions. There's a music group on, so like anybody can come and just join in. You know, we've got instruments there to play: drums, keyboards, guitars. You know, and they're a mad bunch, honestly. You know, but that has sort of helped my confidence so much.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought I'd be coming on something like this and playing guitar and in a band doing gigs and pantomimes and all stuff like that.
Yeah, but you've got a skill. You've got a skill there, Phil, and you're an amazing guitarist.
Oh, thanks, Emma.
I am. I'm going to come over and see the band.
Oh, yeah, you should do.
With the band. I love the
Well, if
band.
it's not stage fright now, it'll be stage fright when Emma arrives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to come over, Phil.
But you're right, Phil. It's a powerful example of how people build their connections. And we know people get well when they're connected to other people who are well and getting well. So if someone wants to get involved, how would they do that? I mean, we can connect them if they go onto the share link and hit the like and share button. We'll
Yeah, and we have got a website, sfrp .info. sfrp.info.
Say it again.
sfrp.info, the website.
SFRP.
Yeah. So it's Stage Fright Recovery Projects.
Okay.
And one of our guys will put that in the comments, because if you're familiar with Inspire in the East, them guys are on it, aren't they?
They are.
They're on
massive
it.
shout out
Yeah.
over there.
Can I just come in? There's a couple of shout outs for Shabazz Birtwell saying, Phil, you're doing absolutely amazing. And a shout out to Leanne Moore, who said you're absolutely amazing, Phil. So well done, Paul.
Oh, thank you. Nice one.
There you go, Phil.
Yeah, I know.
Showered
Brilliant.
with love and affection.
Yeah.
I go way back with this man.
Yeah.
Way
Oh,
way
we do,
back.
yeah.
We go way back, and you know, it's just, I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so glad we're alive.
Yeah. We're lucky, really.
Aren't we?
Very lucky.
Gratitude and a grateful heart to actually be alive. That's where we're at, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah. To come from a place where I weren't bothered if I was alive or not, to, you know, going to college, planning for the future, and
good on you.
Mad.
The world's a better place with you in it, Phil. The world is a better place. And just on that, when we do go back to normal and start delivering some training, or maybe we'll do it digitally. I don't know yet. But listen, I'm suggesting that you come on the speaker boot camp as well, and let's get some boot camp done over the East ways.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I'd be up for that, definitely.
It'll help. I think it'll help.
Yeah.
Not just your confidence, but in your delivery as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. I need it, man.
So, as ever, guys, if you want to get involved in any of the stuff, either make a comment in the section or go to the information port and hit the link. It'll take you straight to the website. Or hit like and share, and our guys will fish you out as well. So, I'm just noticing that we've got around about 50 or 60 people watching live. If every one of you hit the share button, we'd probably double that.
I think we've got some change agents out in the community.
And hope dealers.
And hope dealers that are going to like and share this just so they can get a hope shot into somebody's world.
Oh my God. I think, you know, because you do outreach and you are in some places that sometimes get targeted by authorities.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there's a marker on my car, because when you pull up to go and give out a lock zone and connect with some of these people, I think maybe some of the neighbours have said, oh, that car's dealing drugs, when we're not. If you're watching, Mr. Police Officer, we're dealing hope, because we got pulled up the other day, didn't it? It was very, very aggressive. I know I've got a criminal record, and I know they knew, but I just think there was probably some markers on our car that don't need to be there, because it's hope that we deal today, not drugs. So
I think
just
there's a training opportunity to
throw that out there.
I think there's a training opportunity for the police. Like, if there's any police officers watching and you think your team need training,
but we bombarded him with love, didn't we? It was a bit weird because he wanted to like be dead aggressive and threatening, and we were just so overcome with love and support for the man. You can't help but meet someone on that level, and I'm sure Mick will have some thoughts around that. What's the best way to destroy your enemy? Make them your friend. I'll just give you that for nothing. God is great. Get your paper straight. Sorry. We're getting a look. Okay, Bev. Phil, we love you, man.
Oh, thank you. Nice one. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on with the agenda because we're already 45 minutes in. Hit the like and share button, guys. Let's get the message out there. Our next speaker, Bev, is a force for good, isn't she? You spotted Bev way before anyone else as like the keeper. Bev Webster, it's over to you.
Yeah, both of you. I think Emma told me to stop whinging, to be honest, when we were on training, but that's another story. But it worked though, I suppose. Yeah, so like Pete said, Red Rose found me in hospital, so I drank and I drank and I functioned and I drank. I went to work. I used to work for a chartered accountant and I kept functioning, and then it come to a point where I couldn't function. So then I was just drinking just to get out of bed, and I ended up then you don't like drink, but you still got to have your drink, and it's just horrible. And I were isolating. So I have really good friends, and I've got a lovely family, but I shut myself off from them. I started going yellow, so I made all excuses in book why I were going yellow. Oh, it's this, oh, it's that. But I knew why I were going yellow, because I knew my liver were like giving in. So anyway, eventually I ended up in hospital, and like Pete just said, Red Rose came to visit me, and I don't remember them first time they come to visit me. And then when I was feeling a bit better, they come down ward, and I thought, who are this lot? Why are these coming towards me? But then they started saying to me, yeah, you told us you played football for Accrington Stanley Ladies, and you captained them and you coach kids. And I thought, well, they can't remember that because it doesn't say that on my sheet. It probably just says, oh, he lies like a pisshead. In my mind, that's what I thought. So they must know me. So when I got back home, I found the number in my toiletry bag, and I just thought to myself, it's either you reach out or you're going to end up dead, because they'd already told me mum and dad I'd 50-50 chance of getting out of hospital. And I thought, well, I've got out of hospital, so now this is my chance. So I phoned them up, and to be honest, I've never looked back. I took from them a lot. I had a mentor, like Emma came around. I did all Emma's training, and it's fabulous. I don't want to like bull Emma up, but she's an absolute brilliant trainer, and I don't think you can have a better one. The jolly wisdom, and she just really encouraged me. She's made me do speak about 5 times and go up on a stage 5 times. She knows I hate it. I don't know how they persuaded me to come on here, to be honest, but that's why I do minutes and stuff, so I don't have to do stuff like this. So, yeah, but what I wanted to really talk about is I've ended up with liver cirrhosis, and your liver is really important. It's like near enough as important as your heart is your liver, because it gets rid of all your toxins. It just does so much. So like now I can't take certain tablets because like I can't take ibuprofen because that goes through your liver, and I can't do that. I know, like if I ever drink again, I'd just be dead. So I've damaged my liver, but it's repaired itself because it's that magnificent of an organ. It's repaired itself as much as it possibly can. But with drinking, I also got diabetes, and that has affected my eyesight. So I just want to tell everyone, these aren't my glasses. These are my husband's glasses. Even though Emma thought I went Specsavers and you get glasses straight away, I've had to tell her, no, you have to wait 2 weeks, Emma. Don't know you got yours, some sort of pulling power that you've got, but I have to wait 2 weeks for mine. So these are my husband's. So I've had to have injections into my eyes. I have to have them because they bleed at the back. And it's not as bad as you think, because I was really panicking. And I went into this waiting room, and to be honest, it's mainly old people that have to have these injections. So I'm there, and I must have looked like I was panicking. And this old lady said to me, oh, don't worry, love, it's nothing. And so it is nothing. It sounds far worse than it is. They put a little plastic thing in your eye, and you can't see them because they do it from behind, and they just inject it, but they have numb your eyes, so it's worse after because it feels like someone's chucked grit into your eyes for like, I'd just say a couple of hours, and then you just got to be careful because obviously they've injected your eye, they've opened your eye a little bit, so you got to not get dirt in them and stuff. But so I can't feel my feet, so I have a tendency to fall over, and I'm really clumsy. I just cannot feel them. I once got in bath, left hot tap running, and my foot were under hot tap. I didn't realise, and then I got out. I went out, come back, and when I was changing into my slips, I thought, oh, what are these big yellow bumps on my feet? So I were going to just pop them and put a bit of Savlon on, but my husband looked at them and said, I don't think so, you best get to hospital. So I've once stood on a carpet nail and not known it were in my foot until I crossed my legs, and I just pulled it out. That's how bad my feet don't feel, and that's we having diabetes, and because alcohol gives you such sugar, it really lifts your sugar, and then when you don't drink for a bit, it zooms it back down. So then you've got to be careful of like going into a coma, because having an hypo they call them. So I live with diabetes, and I've also got to take insulin, even though I should be on metformin because I've got type 2, but my liver can't. My kidneys can't cope with metformin, because now I've got stage 4 kidney disease as well. So that's another thing that's been affected by a drink. It's just like a vicious circle. But obviously, if you get it sorted, you get tablets. But I think the most scariest thing that happened to me, and this is what, like when I told Pete, he said, oh, you've got to come on and say that. So I've got something called Gave disease. I've had to write this down because I never remember what it stands for, but it stands for gastric antral vascular ectasia. That's what it stands for, but they call it Gave disease. And what happened were, I was feeling unwell, and I didn't know what it were. I just thought it could be my diabetes, could be this or that. And I'd been sober then for about 7 months. So it were like June 2017-ish. And I woke up one morning, and my daughter, I have a daughter, and she was with me. She was about 10 at the time. And I thought, I don't feel well. I wonder what's up with me. So I was just picking my phone up to ring my partner, because he weren't my husband at the time. And I couldn't use my phone. It was locked, and I'm trying to dial the number when it's locked, and I couldn't. She says, what are you doing? She says, you've to unlock it. Anyway, to take it off me, she to unlock it. I couldn't get in my phone book. I didn't know how to do my contacts. And I thought, I just couldn't remember. I thought, it must be me diabetes. So I went downstairs. I fell down bottom 4 stairs. I don't know why, but I did. And I went into the kitchen, and I get Sweetabix out cupboard, and I put it on a plate. And I stood there looking at it, and I knew that I couldn't eat this Weetabix on a plate, but I couldn't work out why. And she looked at me again. She went, you have to put it in a dish and put your milk on. And it must have been scary for her as well, because she were only 10. And she's looking at me. She's saying, Mum, you're drunk. You're drunk. I said, I'm not, Jess. I've just got up. How can I be drunk? I haven't drunk for 7 months. You know I'm not drunk. But apparently I was slurring my words as well. And then I went to hospital. I ended up, and they were doing all these tests, and they asked me what date it were. I told them it was February 2008, when obviously it was July 2017. And I also, they made you do a test, like count like from 10 to 1. And I thought I'd done it, but I hadn't. So they're like, nearly did it. You just missed out 3 and 7. And I just couldn't understand. So I were really, really frightened. I thought I had dementia. I couldn't remember words and things like that. It were horrible. I laugh now when I tell tale about my Weetabix and stuff. But, you know, they did sort it with a tablet. I was lucky because they sent me out of hospital, and they said I was dehydrated. But I went to stop with my partner, and he lived in that, so that I didn't fall downstairs or out daft. And Jess went to my mum and dad's. And he said, and I cannot remember a thing of this, but he said, I got up in the middle of night and I was trying to climb out his window. But I thought that I must have been trying to go out of a door or something. So he had to ring ambulance, and then luckily I got a different doctor and he realised what I had, because it's that rare, like not everyone can diagnose it. So I was lucky and they give me a pill. That sorted, and I don't have to take that tablet anymore. I control it myself now because I know what signs I'm going to get, and I just make sure my toxins don't build up. So I take lactulose. So whereas people go to toilet like perhaps once a day or whatever they go, I have to make sure I go twice a day to toilet for a number 2. I'll put it to be polite. So yeah, so these are just things I live with now. So I take 7 tablets in the morning, 7 tablets at night, and my insulin twice a day as well. But you probably wouldn't know if I didn't tell you, except watching me fall over and stuff like that when I don't know where I'm putting my feet.
So, Bev, you're shielded, aren't you, in this current epidemic we're going through? Is that the word for it? Pandemic?
Pandemic it is now, yeah.
Pandemic, you're shielded, aren't you? So whereas people are starting to be released a bit, you won't be, will you? You'll have to stay indoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I know it's a brave thing to do. I know in the Lancashire User Forum, we tend to get held up as like, you know, the hot, but actually it's people like Bev who enable us to do what we do. We couldn't do it without you, Bev. You're the backbone of what we do.
Absolutely. Reliable, committed, consistent.
And we have pushed you. We've put you on training, and we've pulled you and pushed you, and you've just remained true all the time. So,
and I just want to give you drum roll, please.
That's not
a drum.
Okay, what about?
Bev, I'll give you this, honey. Well overdue as well. Your fearless speaker badge.
Yes, Emma.
yes, Bev. Because it takes.
I said I'd never be getting one of them, didn't I? I said I won't get one of them because you'll not see me speaking.
Yeah, and you can do it. You have done it.
Well, you have. We've had you up at the forum, and you've spoken in front of, you know, up to 100 people, and now you spoke on air.
I think what would be good is if you delivered the training. Ka-ching.
I've done one of them. I used to shadow you, didn't I? So yeah. I have done ABCD. I like doing that one though. That's a nice, easy one to do.
Well, I think it's about time we give that away now. Start giving that training away. And Bev, as a change agent, will be giving the whole shot out.
So,
can I just say something else as well while we were on?
Love the glasses, darling.
Thank you. While we were on singing and stuff, I just want to put out there that just watch out for posters on Tuesday, because we're doing a Red Roses Got Talent, and there's going to be some fabulous prizes. Anybody can enter, whoever you are, wherever you're from, you can enter this Red Roses Got Talent, and we're going to be streaming the final live, and we're hoping to, well, I'm putting this on Scott, really. Shout out to Scott. He don't get much of a mention, but he's brilliant at our media and stuff, and he makes sure we're all right on Zoom. So, so there's going to be good prizes, and we're hoping to put the final live, and you'll be able to vote live. We're not sure how we're going to do it, but all teams involved. So, like Glenn's involved, Alison's involved, Gareth's involved in North, but we're bringing it all together, and we're going to have a Red Roses Got Talent. So I'll expect you two, Pete and Emma, now that you've showed us that you've got this singing going on, to join us.
So Bev, can anybody?
Yeah.
So can anybody get involved in that then?
Anybody at all.
Yeah. Can I have some information on that, please? I think we'll be getting involved in that.
Yeah, of course, poster's going to be going out, but I can send it to you. I'll get your email off for Pete and Emma, and I'll send everything to you.
Nice one. Good to have you in the house. Just to mention, Bev, was it actually Maggie that came to see you in the hospital?
Yeah, it was Maggie, yeah.
Big shout out to Maggie. She was just on my heart then, and I thought it was Maggie Leslie, yeah. Maggie Leslie.
Do you know, I love you guys. It's just amazing.
Can I just come in?
Yeah.
Bev, I know, because obviously we've had a couple of conversations about how anxious she was about coming on, and I just want to take my hat off you, because I tell you every time I speak to you, you're absolutely amazing, and where the strength that you get is absolutely. But you've got a couple of comments from Jackie Scott, so a shout out to Jackie.
Oh, hey, Jackie.
How do you keep up the self-positive in these times, and what do you do for self-care?
Well, to be honest, I've built my network of friends and my support around me. I've got a fabulous husband. I've got Jess, who's now 13, my mum and dad. So I've got a massive network of friends, and also it's really important this, because anytime I feel out of key, I will just pick up the phone straight away. It doesn't matter who I phone. I could phone Pete, I could phone you, Glenn, I phone you, Donna, sometimes.
Yeah.
Alison's absolutely fabulous. I can just speak to Alison whenever I want, and I know that I can pick up phone anytime. Karen as well. Shout out to Karen Mason, because she really took me under her wing as well, and she once saved me actually, and she doesn't even know she did it, because we're in that time when I felt a bit poorly and I thought, in my mind, this is just like, because my mind wasn't straight, obviously, because it takes a while to come out your bubble when you're trying to become sober. And I thought, I'm going pub, forget this. Like, I felt better when I was drinking, like, I obviously didn't, but I thought, no, I'll just go into Red Rose. And Karen was sat there, and I just talked to her. I didn't tell her why or how I felt, and she just cheered me up just by being in the same room. So I can't stress how important it is just to pick up your phone. I know it's hard because we're all in lockdown and stuff, but we're all still here, and you can FaceTime, you can Zoom, you can just have a telephone conversation, so yeah, hopefully that's give answer to the question, Glenn.
Good shout.
Can I say, do you know what? I want to thank you, because sometimes I don't always see my own faults, but you're not frightened to point them out, are you, Bev? And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thank you for that. I do, because you come in and it was like we'd have to pull a conversation out to now when I chair some meetings. You're the first one to say, can we just have a little rewind a minute, Pete? We're not so sure about, and it's just great to see you leading the charge on that culture where we're all accountable to each other, but yet we're all there to support and love each other. I think you play a massive part in it, Bev. Thank you very much. We love you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, hit the like and share button so other people can taste a little bit of flavour Bev's just put out there, because it's live, it's real, it's bread and butter for us. We know what we're dealing with, and there's sometimes some of the secondary illness our guys have to face and manage. Okay.
Consequences, aren't they? The consequences of what we've done.
Consequences, yeah.
Massive shout out to Jackie Scott. Hi, darling. How's it going over in Thailand? And Rachel, we love you.
Top people, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
We've got Claire. Before we go on to Claire, should we bring Mick in for our thought?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's just have your thought for the week, Mick.
Okay.
The minister.
All right, let's do it. So I kind of, I don't really know what I'm going to say, but I kind of think that what Pete said when he was talking about the love, and I think we'll talk about that. I think that, so there's a little piece in the Bible, and it's about love, and it's 1 Corinthians 13. And basically what it's saying, just shortening it right down, is you own nothing in life. It's an illusion. You just think you do. So these are the two notions of love. So one of them is, I really love you. You've got to meet my need. So look at it like even a flower. I absolutely love flowers. So what I do is I go outside and I murder the flower. I pick it up, I rip it up, I put it in water and I put it in my house and I watch it die. And then look what you do with relationships and friendships. You try to hold them. And what you do is they can't breathe, they don't get sunlight, and they wither away and die. That's not love. That's an illusion. Now, real love says that there's going to be times when you're going to suffer. It's going to be sacrificial. It's going to be putting the other person first. This is the truth. So these are I guess are kind of the Christian teachings on this. And so the little story I'm going to tell about that is it's many years ago. I was trying to explain this love concept to a friend of mine who was very bad on alcohol and drugs. And I believe that if you can find love, you can get freedom from addiction. That's the basis that I'll always use. And I'm trying to explain to him. And he said, well, about this God thing, about this Jesus thing, what's it all about, mate? What you on about? I can't do that. I can't do this. And I'm trying to explain to him. And his son come into the room. Now his son, lovely little lad, wants a backhand now and again. Lovely lad. So he's got problems. He's got mild autism. He's got ADHD. He's got he's hard work. He's beautiful, but he's proper hard work. And he come in and he went, all right, mate, are you talking about that Jesus, that God thing? I went, yeah. He said, I'd stab Jesus. What would he do to me? And I said, do you know what? I said, he'd love you. He went, well, he said, I'd stab him in the eyes and cut his eyes out, mate. What would he do to me then? I said, he'd love you even more. And he just stopped and he just said, my dad's like Jesus, because when I'm really bad, he loves me anyway. And the lad went out. The dad broke down and cried in my arms. And he understood that real love is sacrifice. And it's only in the sacrifice that you see truth. So today's thought is, if you're going through the pain, you're understanding love. So thank you very much. Until next time, see you again. The Sinister Minister shall be back. Take it easy. Remember, love each other. It's the freedom from addiction. Take care and God bless.
Thank you very much. Stay blessed. That's a lovely thought.
Stay blessed. Yeah, you're getting better at this, Mick. He's totally fitting into his size now, isn't he? Stay blessed. Thanks, Mick. Can I just say, who's walking around in the background? Is he gone? I think it's Sarah.
I think he might. He's gone, yeah.
Oh, well, hi, Sarah, anyway, if that was you.
Yeah, but he's left us a lovely picture of himself smiling, hasn't he?
Just so cool.
Okay, moving on to Claire Helm.
Double barrel baby.
Yeah, double barrel baby. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Yeah, so I'm Claire. I'm from We Are With You, formerly Addiction. So we are a national charity, and we provide substance misuse advice and information, and we do have some mental health provisions as well in a few services around the UK. The service that I work for is in Lancashire, so we're a young person service. So we cover East, Central and North Lancs. We've got office bases in Preston, Lancaster and Burnley. I do community engagement for the whole of Lancashire. There's only one of me. Ideally, we'd have three for each locality and each office. But luckily enough, I've met people like Glenn, and Glenn's linked me in with things like this, which is amazing. Thanks, Glenn. And I attend the Lancashire User Forums in each locality, try to get to all of those. So the services that we offer are substance misuse for young people under 25, and we do one-to-one work and group work. A lot of stuff is early interventions. In a lot of our referrals at the minute come from schools and have for a long time. I should say we've been in Lancashire for I'm coming up on my 14th year in September. I know I don't look old enough, so it's all right. Yeah, so I've 14th year in September. We've been in North and Central Lancs, and then we got the East contract about 5 years ago. So it made it a bit more of a one Lancashire for the YP service. So yeah, one-to-one work, group work, a lot of early intervention, trying to sort of catch people before they get to a chaotic stage. A lot of the clients that attend our service are kind of maybe experimenting. It's becoming a little bit problematic. They're not really seeing that it's a problem. A lot of our stuff is to try and help them to kind of, you know, champion the way as to look at how their choices are affecting their life. We're a voluntary service as well, which I think is really important. So anyone that comes to our service, it's on a voluntary basis. My role is around linking in with doing stuff like this, and we also have a volunteer program, and that's for anybody over 18. So anybody who's interested in volunteering for a young person service as well, feel free to get in touch with me. We're crying out for people from the recovery community. I'm not in recovery myself, and I did work for 10 years frontline with young people, and I'm not saying that you need to be in recovery to do that. However, when I utilised volunteers in recovery and took people to sessions with me, I definitely saw a kind of a shift sometimes with people. There's sometimes a little bit of a switch. You know, a lot of us, we can empathise greatly, and that's the part of the roles that we do. But there's nothing more powerful, I think, than somebody telling their story and that lived experience. So if anyone's interested in doing some early intervention stuff, feel free to get in touch. Bit of an overview.
Do you know how you were saying that it's a voluntary service? Do you think it makes a difference, people choosing to come off their own volition as opposed to sometimes service users can be coerced? They don't have a choice whether they can access a service or not.
Yeah, I think it is. I think especially during the lockdown period, I've been getting all the phones are diverted to me at the minute, with me not being able to get out in the community, and I've been getting a lot of calls from parents, and a lot of it is around opening that dialogue. So we might get professionals that refer to us, or parents or teachers or social workers, and those people say that person needs an intervention. However, the dialogue isn't there sometimes, and that conversation needs to happen. So part of our role is to kind of try and open up those communications and getting adults to remember what it's like to be in that situation, and say, well, actually, if you try and push something on somebody, you know what I was like when I was 15. I'm gonna go, or 19 or 22, 25 even, I probably would have gone, no thanks. However, just have a conversation with someone and say, these services exist, they're here to support you. You know, we're not here to be authoritarian and tell you how to live your life and tell you what to do. So it's really important to open those lines of communication and empower people, not disempower. You know, you've got to do this, you've got to go somewhere, empower people to make a choice for themselves.
You raise a really interesting point, and I know Emma's picked up on it straight away, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a few threads of thinking there, actually. That is definitely the ABCD model, from services not coming in to do to people, you know, looking at the problems in our community are the solutions, the problems are the solutions. Yeah. However, training hat off, families, I've always, and I've got a lot of time for Colin at Ad Action, but we've only ever dealt with Colin. And Ad Actions, it's a big charity, isn't it? And it's national. So,
we are with you.
Yeah. I must say, we've got a new service manager now, Emma. He's called Ray Jones.
Right, hi Ray, let's hook up.
Yeah,
we're coming for you.
Introducing Ray Jones. She's not getting away from me.
That name sounds like it could be famous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But just going back to what you were saying there about you have referrals that come in from parents, where do you signpost the parents? Because we've got Families Matters mutual aid meetings going on in the community, and that I feel like we're missing a link. It's like that hooking up, because there's resources there for the family members to be part of a community of other like-minded people, and we might drop the ball there a bit. And this is comes back to relational. It's relational, isn't it?
Well, I was talking to the other Claire Kennedy, about exactly that point today, how we can develop some of the current learning we've had around the mutual aid for families, the support where they can access that from one another, how we can upscale that, and it's just a really interesting topic, and it absolutely makes sense, doesn't it? You know, the family matters, families matter.
Yeah, exactly. At the minute, we do have a family worker, and she can work with the families of the young people that are engaging with our service. And we're developing something extra online support at the minute to provide some sort of support to those families of young people that won't engage. And I guess that's come off the back of the COVID stuff, because I've been getting so many phone calls off worried parents, but the children don't want to engage, or they're just not interested at the minute. I'll try my best to sort of promote them to speak to me, but on the back of that, and on the back of what's happened, is to open up our offer of not just having family work with young people that are engaging, so to keep that separate, so the client or young person will have their worker, and then our family worker can work with the family as well, and then maybe bring them together. It's only sorry, Emma.
What would be good, I think, as well, is if Lorna is watching, or Lynn Sutter, or Lorna Simpson, the crew out there, to get in the link, maybe email addresses and stuff, because there's Zoom meetings going on now for families.
Yeah.
And that if you have got another tool in your toolbox to be able to throw out to the families, then give it away, give it a...
One of the two is this, so hit the like and share button, because it's a platform, and we might catch some more family members who
are struggling as well.
Because we've got a network of people who are experts by experience, and I don't use that word lightly. They are experts. They've been there and done it. They're credible and they're relevant, and I think if you've got a child or a family member going through what we know is, often a very, very isolating issue, then, you probably don't know where to go and get support from that. And
no,
it's like that asset-based approach, we've already got a lot of what we need. We just need to connect it up a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's why this is so amazing, because you only know what you know today, don't you? Until you do something like this, and then you get another tool, and we get more information, and we can refer on to yourselves.
Build them relationships.
About this the other day. Yeah, the importance of what you guys are doing as a whole, really. That approach is amazing.
And unity has always been a main message. Unity, to unify everybody, every organisation, corporate hats off at the door, coming as people.
Yeah.
Well,
We're in it together. We're in this together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to come up with a song.
Yes, the song. Glenn, do you have a question for Claire?
Just a couple of points. So, what Claire's picked up on, because I know Claire, and I speak to her quite regularly. If anybody does want to link in with Claire or Younger Action, we are with you.
We are with you.
We are with you. They can contact me.
Time this, you know that, don't you, Claire?
Yeah.
Even I'm struggling with it. Don't worry. Even I'm struggling.
Yeah, they can contact me.
With you. Sorry.
Come on, Glenn, try again, love.
I'll try again.
I've had addiction for nearly 14 years, so the we are with you. It's like I'm gonna have to keep saying it to myself. So don't worry. It'll take a little bit of time.
But they can contact me, and I can link them in with Claire, and we are with you. I know that the amazing work that Claire does. She gets around all Lancashire. She turns up with a rucksack and banners and a merchandise, and
I know.
and she gets everywhere. So if anybody does want to link in, and I think it's really important about the referral pathway, because we've had people where that young adults, 22, 23, and some of them don't want to be in treatment centres because of the stigma attached to that. And if we can signpost to your way and vice versa, then we can link in massively. So anybody wants to link in with Claire, give me a shout.
Brill, thank you.
But we don't have to, I mean, to access treatment, it doesn't have to be in a treatment centre. And
No.
What we learned a couple of weeks ago from Professor David Best, shout out David Best, is that there's a model chain, connectedness, hope, identity, meaning and purpose, and empowerment. As long as you've got them elements, it doesn't necessarily have to revolve around a treatment centre.
It doesn't.
No.
Them days are gone. We can do it in the community with support from clinical.
But there's elements of that we are crucial in delivering. Because talking about families, Claire, the idea of a family has evolved to what it once was. It was, you know, we've got single parent families. Sometimes communities, I mean, not on our street, but on some streets. I bet it's not on Kennedy Street neither. Some streets, people don't know who the neighbours are. They don't even see them, let alone talk to them. Whereas once upon a time, a lot of these issues would be dealt with and support would be offered from community. And I think sometimes one of the elements of asset-based community development is it seeks to identify areas where services have disempowered community, and they've stepped over that threshold and delivered a service as an organisation that once was for the community to deliver. And I think that's where mutual aid and peer support and
comes alive.
What we do.
It's a very lonely place, isn't it? It's very lonely and isolating place for not just people that are in the addiction, but for the other people that are affected by that. It's even more so now. It's been massively intensified with everything that's going on. It's already a lonely place if you're dealing with something that you've no clue what to do, where to go, where to turn, and all of the work that you do is a massive asset. Massive.
I just like to give the hope shot and shine a light on some stuff. And even when I'm out there and there's people who don't want to stop, and that's fine. And we're just doing a bit of harm reduction because that's all we can do in that chaos. Even if you're just that hope in the hopelessness for a second, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
And that you can't do anything because you are powerless over that person, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But just to be seen in that space at that time by that person. Maybe not today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next year. Yeah. But at some point, you hope they're going to look back and say, do you know what? I remember when Emma Daggers came here and did or just a little shiny piece of hope in the dark. If they pick it up, that's great. If they don't, that's fine. Yeah. You can't make anyone...
I think it's having a good first experience that's really important, isn't it? That first connection and that first contact that you make with somebody within any kind of environment. If it's a good one, like you say, someone might not be ready right now, but in six years time, they might have come to us when they were 15 and had a really, and it was all right experience. I met Claire years ago. She was all right. She wasn't that bad. She didn't tell me off. And then when they're 22, they might think, it wasn't too bad there, actually. I might go back. It's that you're just planting a seed, and hopefully it'll grow.
Planting
seeds.
Thanks.
Planting a seed.
Planting seeds.
Here's the thing with seeds: we might not be the ones to reap the harvest, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Do you know? Have you heard of Johnny Appleseed? I bet you have, haven't you, Mr. Kennedy? Johnny Appleseed.
No.
He went, when you get an Apple product, it's already probed in with like a name, Johnny Appleseed. And the story goes, he went around America and he had a bag of apple seeds, you know, before the colonists arrived. And he scattered them. And, you know, the story goes, he would have never been able to eat them apples, but he knew the people coming after, them apples would sustain lots of people. So it's that analogy in it, you know, Johnny Appleseed, we're planting seeds that, you know, other people will sustain themselves on.
Yeah.
So thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so firing on with the agenda, we've got from Claire Helm Fawcett to Claire and Kevin Kennedy.
Oh, it's
the
Kaylee.
The Curly Watts crew.
The Curly
Claire and
Watts
Kevin.
squad.
All right.
Hey, dude.
I'm good. How are you? No one's ever done that before.
First time for everything. I tend to have this effect on people. Lovely to have you in the house.
Very nice to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for letting us in your front room as well, because it's really quite intimate, this, isn't it? Even though we're on screens in a digital age, we're still coming live into your front rooms, aren't we? And we're sharing our front room with everybody. As messy as it is.
You're very welcome, though.
Yeah.
Our house is an open house. It's a house of love.
Oh, but I can't wait to come over when COVID's over.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, come on, because I've spent all day down by the beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's tan.
Swimming. It's gorgeous down there at the minute. It's lovely.
So where are you anyway, Kevin?
I am on the, first off, I'm a Manchester lad, born and bred. Manchester Irish, as you know. But most of my stuff, when I left Corrie about, 16 years ago, all my stuff was down this end.
Brighton.
Brighton. So I moved down here. So that's where we live now.
That's where the magic happens.
It is actually, because I think Ray Jenkins is from Brighton, isn't he?
Yeah, we know Ray really well. We love Ray Jenkins.
I love Ray. But, you know, so there's a lot of good things being birthed then in Brighton.
Well, we've got real problems down here because, like all seaside towns, it's the end of the line.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do a geographical. And for those who don't know what that is, that's where you just get on a train and go somewhere so far away from your perceived or real problems that you've come to the end of the line. The next stop is the sea.
Yeah.
So we've got.
Go any further.
Yeah, you can't go any further, and that because it's a port. We get a lot of drugs coming in, and it's a holiday town as well. So there's a lot of drinking going on, like Blackpool, which is probably one of my favourite places on earth. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff down here, a lot of homeless as well.
Yeah, huge homeless problem.
So there's a lot of work to be done, and we've been doing this. Well, we've both been sober for 22 years, and we started this off because when I first came around, we didn't know where to turn. We didn't know
where'd you go?
Who do you speak to? Who do you turn to?
The doctor said, go home and stop drinking. Oh,
I know.
Not thought of that,
Yeah,
you
right.
know. It's insane.
So we've been doing it really for 20 odd years in one way or another. And it's only just now we've become a registered charity. Which is great because that gets us in funding pots and what have you.
But we're little tiny project in comparison to you guys. I was talking to Peter earlier, and he's like the font of knowledge. It was wonderful. It was like speaking to the Pope.
To God.
It was like speaking to the
God, don't say that.
Honestly, it's amazing. It was like a spiritual experience.
We've been doing it really off our own back. Like Claire's really been doing all the hard work. I've just been the poster boy.
Beautiful though, isn't it?
Due to my contacts through the media and what have you. And all I've been doing basically is going out there, and every time I've been interviewed, and this is the thing, this is what really got me down, is every time I was interviewed by mainstream media, all they wanted to know was the horrible stuff, the war stories, and you know, what was your lowest moment? Because it's sexy TV, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I did this and I did that and I did this, and then it really got bad and I was off doing this, and I got fed up with that because no one was shining a light on the answer.
And it was all fear and chaos and drama. And we're the same as you guys. We're hope bearers. We want to bring joy to the world.
We peddle hope.
We've been set free. We've been keys of the kingdom.
Which brought us on to like what we need is visible recovery.
Yeah.
And what we need is people that have been through that mill, have come through the other side, and now have a successful, healthy life. And it should be like, you know, yeah, I was that, I was this, but now I'm this. Yeah. And it's by attraction. Yeah. Because I know from my own experience, when I was in the grips of that, of addiction, I couldn't see further than the next day, than the next bottle, than the next joint or whatever. I couldn't see further than that. And I just couldn't see any hope at all. So, you know, I was really, because there's an untapped wealth of experience and knowledge and hope from people who are now running businesses, who are the CEOs of huge corporations, who 6 years ago were on a mattress in a flop house. And to get these people to stand up and go, come on, you know, it's difficult. So that's where my personal passion is to get people that are that really want to help, to put their hands up and say, yeah, I was in that situation. But because of the very nature of the disease, though, we tend to sort of bring it all back in
shame and stigma,
and the shame and the stigma, but also very. I think what got us into this problem a lot of the time is we were pretty insecure anyway. And now we're sober and clean. You know, we just want to live our lives at kind of a gentle pace. We don't want to go, yeah, I was an addict, man. You know, we don't want to do that. So, so it's difficult to find that balance. But I better shut up, otherwise.
What you described, you know, is apparent because in prison, that's where I came into contact with what I call the mythical unicorns. For years and years and years, people would say to me, you don't have to reoffend. You don't have to continue in that lifestyle. And I would say, well, where are the people who overcome similar challenges to what I'm faced with? Show me somebody who's done it. And because of shame and guilt and stigma, people wouldn't want to, you know, share their stories of what they've triumphed over. They just get on with the life. So that was a big driver for me, early doors, to be visible. And
He didn't have a choice, to be honest. Kev didn't really have a choice. No. The first day he came out of treatment, I was absolutely pooing my pants because I'd just got into recovery, and his boss said to him, you've got to go on Richard and Judy in the morning and tell them about your stint in rehab. And he went, okay then, because he didn't know what else to say. And they put him on Richard and Judy's couch. And before he went on, he was absolutely bricking it. And he was in the green room, and there was a vicar in the green room. Now, we're not religious type of people, but Kev was evidently shaking. And this vicar said to him, are you okay? And he said, no, not really. He said, I've been told I've got to talk on this show. And he said, I don't even know what my own name is. He said, I'm frightened of buses. He said, I don't know what to say. And he said, do you know what? He said, just be open, be honest, tell your story. He said, and if one person gets hope from that, he said, your work here is done. He said, now just go and speak your truth. And you know what? He came off the interview. He was fine. And this young lad walked into the green room with cans on, leant over, whispered in his ear, and Kev's face just went white. And I was like, what did he say? And he went, oh my God. He said, he just leant over and said, thanks, mate, for that. He said, I was going to go and score. He said, but I'm going to go to a meeting instead. Yeah. And it was one of the sound engineers that listened on the floor. And Kev just thought, that is the power.
But that's what I'm here for. I thought
visible recovery.
That's what I do now. That's what I do. So, you know, I I drop it in at any opportunity. I mean, I do a bit of a one-man show, and I've done it on ships and what have you, and I do, because it's all based on music, but there's a bit of recovery stuff in the middle, and it's powerful because I just tell this story over music, and I say, well, this happened, then that, not gratuitous horribleness, just this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and then now this has happened, but set more to a musical kind of thing, and it's very powerful stuff. So I won't shut up about it if I'm asked. So
Lovely.
I was talking with Claire earlier on, and Claire was describing how for a long time you'd sit above him, you know, saying it's all your fault, and you were, you know, and just share that with us.
I mean, to be honest, it all did start with family recovery, and I'm not taking any glory for Kev's recovery at all. About 25 years ago, I was in active addiction from the age of like 18, but I just didn't know it, because I always used to gravitate towards men that sort of were worse than me, so I could sort of sit on a pedestal and look down on them a bit. Didn't know I was doing it, obviously, and Kev was he was a chronic daily drinker, and I was like a binge drinker that used other drugs so I wouldn't become a daily drinker. Made perfect sense at the time. And I started going to a 12-step fellowship for family members, and this old lady, 2 years it took me going, listening, and I used to go stoned, because I didn't go drunk because I thought that would be rude. I used to go because I used to blame Kev for everything. And this old lady said to me after 2 years ago, and she said, "You've been coming here for 2 years, haven't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I have." And she said, "Yeah, for 2 years." She said, "You've been pointing that finger at your husband, haven't you? Blaming him for the way your life's turned out." And I said, "Yeah, he's a pain in the arse." And she went, "Listen to me, young lady." She said, "Every time you point that finger, there's 3 pointing back at you and 1 at the solution." She said, "You're the only one you can do anything about, and you can only do it with God's help." She said, "Now get your act together." She said, "If you're identifying with the addict in the room," she said, "I suggest you go to a meeting." It was like around the chops.
Perfect. Can I just say as well, I think one of the most important thing that we do now is everyone in these windows are in my tribe, right? And our tribe are a tribe of survivors, because by rights we all should be dead. Hard to kill, you know, and I think we get all this tribe and other people that maybe out there are listening now to get them on board, unify, and try and help each other out as much as we can. And we do what we can, but obviously strength in numbers and strength in being unified together, pooling our resources and doing what we can. Otherwise, because especially now, with this pandemic, and I have to say, with this pandemic, what has happened, and probably the only bonus, is that communities have come together again. Like what you were saying before about, you know, you'd sort it out within the street. And the hark about Coronation Street. Coronation Street was that kind of community. It was like this. And if you had a problem, everyone helped out, and that kind of has gone. But now it's coming back again, and we've got to harness that while it's there.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, Kevin. And I was saying last week, and I say it again now, there are leaders emerging in the communities. You know, there's an uprising from the grassroots up. There is, you know, there's leaders emerging, and now is the time to harness that. It really is. Whether it is digital, whether it is, you know, well, it can only be digital, can't it? But to take that camaraderie when we come out of this is what I'd be hoping. The good thing that has come out is leaders have emerged on this platform for our drug using community as well as our recovering community, you know, and bringing them together, which is something that we're good at, because unifying everything, and unity is a main driver, you know, because it really isn't about silo working. How can you in this current climate? You can't.
So it's fascinating, and we could do a whole show with each of, you know, every one of these windows here, you know, deserves a whole show. Hit the like and share button, because we will be coming back. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you're doing in Kennedy Street, Claire.
So what we do is we're very much like you guys. We're a peer-led community project that's led by people in recovery. All of the directors. So we set up as a CIC originally, like no profit. But all of those were in recovery. All of the directors are in recovery, and I've been leading it really. Doing a lot of work around family recovery with women, particularly who've got small children. So I'm really passionate about family, and obviously we help everybody, but we don't just integrate into fellowship. What we do is we get alongside people and we help them understand their own recovery capital, what they've already got, and we help them find out what their hopes and dreams are for the future. So we've been doing this for like 22 years. We've been active in the community for 22 years of service, in the recovering community and also in the faith community as well, because we both go to church. Our own recovery led us to faith. So when you witness so many miracles on a daily basis, it's hard to ignore that there's something bigger looking after you. So we're really passionate about doing work with people that are forgotten, and often women come to me terrified that they're going to get the children taken away if they approach statutory services. So if they go to all the community projects that are commissioned, they won't go because they're frightened. So we work with them, but we work with them in the community, and we work with the kids. We get the kids involved. We deliver fresh fruit and veg, and it's not a pity thing. It's a, look, I've got this fruit and veg. Do you want it? Yeah, right. We'll sit and make smoothies, and we talk about recovery and find out what their hopes and dreams are, and if they want it or not. And if they want it, then we can help them. If they don't, that's okay too.
It's very much a northern approach, funnily enough. It's like, you know, look, I've got this. Do you want it? Yeah. And it's like straightforward. There's no kind of catch. It's like, you know, you don't have to do anything. If you want it, you can have it. You know.
And we know everything that's going on in the community, so we know where recovery lies for families as well. So we try and integrate. So one thing I'm working with at the moment, for instance, her husband is a cocaine addict, is in active addiction. She's absolutely beside herself. So what we do is we try to get alongside people and integrate them to what's already out there. And there's a lot of great family fellowships out there, great family support. In Brighton, we've got a recovery choir, we've got a recovery orchestra, we've got all sorts of little projects popping up. One of the things that we do in the community as well is help people set up social enterprises. So I'm a businesswoman by profession. I'm not a third sector guru. That's why I love listening to Pete, because I don't really know much about this sector. I know about volunteering, and I know about business, and I know about recovery.
Yeah, we need to tell you.
Well, we need to share that expertise, because
definitely.
I've got, I suppose, some experience, but I think you guys have as well, and I think that's where we really become strong, when we start to give some of that. I think there's a big power shift occurring as well, and there's other examples throughout history where adversity has brought groups of people together, and they've brought about social change in a big way. And I just think now's the time for us to do it, and let the unification be where we want to go, what we want to achieve, not how we've arrived at where we are, because we all come through different pathways. Yeah, you know, and if music is the way, let's use that.
We think the solution lies in social innovation. So I personally believe if you empower somebody in recovery and equip them with the right resources and the right mentors, and I'm talking about recovery, but I'm also talking about business mentors. You know, we're blue sky thinkers, we're creative visionaries as people in recovery. You set one of us on fire with the right team around them, you've got a social innovation right there. Talking about like Uber Eats, why do we need an Uber Eats that's privately owned? Why can't we set it up as a socially innovative business that's going to give people jobs that need them? You know,
I feel a takeover coming on.
Do you know, do you know what? I've been putting some thought around, because we want to bring about social change in a social level, but also in a systems level. And sometimes the system that is there where resources come through, it changes our DNA, because once we take hold of some money, with it come conditions, and some of them conditions change the way we operate. And when we're getting a really good result, like, you know, Bev and the hospital coaches, I know the Well, shout out to the Well, they're doing similar work. They get a top result, but then to resource to do that, sometimes it, well, in our experience, it changed the way we did, because we had to measure and record it. But if we wasn't dependent on public money for that, if we said, you know, let's really unite the community and come up with some crowdfunding ways to resource some of this social work, for want of a better description, maybe that's a sustainable method going forward.
And that's knowledge, though, isn't it? That's passing on that knowledge and downloading all that.
And getting businesses involved, because my experience is I've worked in private practice with high functioning addicts for 15 years, and they need to know where recovery is in the community. They don't know where it is, but they need it. Most of the population that's got an addiction problem, like Bev said, are still functioning. It's the minority that ends up on the street. So it's businesses really that should be investing in this amazing community cohesion, and they can invest with money, they can invest with expertise, they can invest with so much more, because like you say, you know, when you take funds from, I mean, I've written funding bids, it's a nightmare. I don't ever want to be good at writing a funding bid, and the monitoring and evaluation that goes with it, it's a full-time job. What about the lives that we're changing? You don't get a chance to do that.
How do you measure that as well? It's like easy measurement too.
My experience is there's a lot of good people out there who want to help and contribute. They just don't know how to. We've not made it easy for them. I was having a conversation last week when we talked about the paradigm shift in service user involvement, whereas once upon a time, service user involvement, they used to be quite angry, you know, we've not been listened to for 20 years, and it made it really difficult for the services to engage with groups when they were angry like that, and sometimes rightfully and justifiably so. But we in the LUF, we said we're not going to focus on what's wrong, and we're not going to have a whinge-a-thon complaining and moaning. We want to have a celebration of what's good, and we want to help you as service providers to help us. We made it really easy for them to engage, and my point is, are we doing that for businesses? Are we making it really easy for businesses to invest in social innovation?
No, because there's still too much of a divide between us and them. It's as if it doesn't happen to them, and the fact of the matter is 1 in 3 of them that's in the workplace. Our phone hasn't stopped. I mean, we just got 10 grand from the big lottery from a COVID-19 bid, and also say thanks God for that, because with that money we've been able to literally open a telephone line that we didn't have before, get all our services and all our coaching on Zoom, and literally the people that are ringing up, they're not the hard to reach community members. I'm training them up to become coaches. It's functioning people that are ringing up going, oh my God, I've been furloughed, I've been told I've got to go back next week, and I can't stop using. Before, it's their job that kept them stopped. Whereas now they've been in lockdown, they've been furloughed or whatever, fear, chaos, drama, family dysfunction, with an underlying addiction problem, you know what's going to happen, don't you? They're the ones that are ringing up.
I said today, what will happen? We'll start talking and we'll run out of time.
I know. I was just going to say, I think this is, let's just park that up, because I think if anyone out there has got any questions, please come in. I do think this is just the start of our relationship. I do think we need to pick up a conversation. Definitely. I've had a few ting, ting, ting moments as we're talking there. ideas.
I could charge my phone up just off the sparks in Emma's head now.
And I'm feeling like, and I've been praying for inspiration and vision. So I've got a few while we've been talking. So we do need to pick up a conversation outside of this. Because things we work. This isn't just it, is it? You know, it's we're builders, aren't we? Out, and that's 24/7. Never stops, does it?
We've got some other builders who are on the patch who are doing some great work, haven't we?
We've got Lancaster in the house. Yes. So
Nicola Crompton Hill said you're absolutely amazing, Claire. John Roberts from Wales has turned around and said that.
Oh, John! Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Yeah, he's on every week. Said you're an inspiration.
Oh.
And yeah, there's just loads of comments here saying that you're an inspiration. And Lorna said that she wants to come down to Brighton and support you.
Yeah, she will.
We want you to come up here first, so we've got to make that happen.
Yeah, we do. Nice one, guys. Okay, we've got Lancaster in the house. Alex.
Hello.
Hey, dude, how you doing?
Can you just shut that window properly?
Thanks for so patient.
I can't believe how nervous I am, to be quite honest. Right, so you wanted me to go a little bit through my life story and then what we do, what we are and what we do here at Walter Lane. So I'm going to skim quickly through my addiction, if that's all right, and talk a little bit more about my recovery, and then we'll go on to a little bit about what Walter Lane's all about. So yeah, very quickly, grew up in quite a chaotic household. I got bullied in primary school. Ended up fighting back from the bullying when I went to senior school and got involved in I won't say wrong, because most of them have gone out of it and got good jobs now, so they're not wrong uns. I've got involved with a certain type of people. Ended up doing the usual sort of things, shoplifting. This was earlier senior school, shoplifting, wagging off school and that. But all the time I was doing that, I was a loner as a child, and all the time I was doing that, I was just scared all the time. I didn't like fighting. I was scared of fighting. I wasn't good at talking to people. I was just white knuckling my way through this kind of life. But what I had was connection. I had people around me for the first time. I ended up my only friend that I had, because I was such a loner, went, and his mum and dad had a divorce. He went to live on a council estate. So I started obviously knocking around on this council estate where things got a little bit more serious. There's lots of school fights and gang fights and things like that, and I was absolutely terrified of getting involved in any of it, if I'm honest. It wasn't sort of my thing. So the first time we all sat around the park, as you do at that age, I think I was about 14, and somebody went out and got some beers, some alcohol, and I got drunk, and that was the first time in my life that I didn't feel scared and anxious, and all them horrible inhibitions that I'd been carrying around all that time disappeared. So I pretty much believe that I was hooked from that first day. Psychologically, I loved it so much. So obviously that would happen every now and again, but I just found myself searching it out. So if the gang of lads and girls I weren't drinking that I was with, I would go to the other end of Grange Park the next day that I was on and find somebody that was drinking. And at the age of 14 and 15, I was getting hold of my own drink and drinking on my own, just to give me the courage to go to the school fights I needed to go to keep the ego up for the sort of people that I was knocking around with. So I was using alcohol basically at the age of 14 and 15. I started drinking pretty much every day. Got involved with a gang of lads that did house burglaries. Quite quickly ended up in the old fashioned DCs. Ended up in Buckley Hall. Went to DC quickly. So I landed in there twice, and each time I was obviously then there was no substances. You look at who got a joint back in them days in them places. But so I was terrified in jail. Obviously, I didn't get bullied because I knew what to do in there, and you had to even though it terrified me, I knew I had to look after myself and that. So I didn't want that. I'd had enough of that. So I decided to turn my life around and just pack it all in, basically. So I just wanted to live a little bit normal. So I thought, right, I'll get a girlfriend, get myself a flat, and sorry, I've jumped ahead there. This is what happens, but sorry about that. So yeah, so I've had enough. I've come out of Buckley Hall, and I decided to pack it all in and get a job. Sorry, I've jumped ahead a little bit. Decided to pack it all in and get a job. So I decided to serve my time with my dad as a joiner. My dad was a joiner, also a functioning alcoholic. I'm trying to go quick here because of the time. So he was a functioning alcoholic. So, and it was the best job in the world for me. You drank at dinner, 3 or 4 pints at dinner, and you drank after work. I was drinking after work, then I was going back on the estate, getting absolutely smashed. Served my time, did quite well as a joiner, but didn't think it was a problem that the only time I was pretty 100% sober was between 6 in the morning and 12 in the afternoon. Ended up working in Germany, went to work in Germany. Basically, I was doing exactly the same. By this time, I was taking ecstasy and I was messing around with all that kind of stuff. Hated heroin. Call them I would never be a heroin addict. Dirty people, didn't like them. So I was earning phenomenal money. I had all the nice clothes. Ended up working in Amsterdam for 6 months. So to be working in Amsterdam with the lads and girls that I was messing around with on the estate where I lived, I was just like a 10-mile high. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was the bee's knees basically, and I was just partying. And again, I was never sober up until 12 o'clock. So I spent a lot of my life generally just thinking that I wasn't a morning person. Because up until dinner, I was just pretty much bad-tempered, ratty, didn't like anybody, quite nervous as well. So I just thought I wasn't a morning person. Came back from working in Amsterdam, and before I knew it, I started sweating, waking up in bed sweating and shaking a little bit, and needed to have a drink to get myself to work. I'm going to speed it up a little bit here. So obviously I started getting sacked from jobs and things like that. So I decided to, and this is where I jumped ahead before, I decided to detox myself, find a girlfriend, maybe have a baby and get a flat somewhere. And I pretty much managed to do all that. I bought some Valium on the council estate, I detoxed myself, found a beautiful girl, ended up with a beautiful daughter, got a flat, got a job. But didn't realise that I was back to being that horrible. I was just an absolute nervous wreck. I was a shell without the substances. So I was a horrible person. I wasn't violent, but I was bad-tempered, ratty. Didn't like anybody. I'll be honest with you, I didn't play with my daughter. I'm not even sure that I loved my daughter properly. I just didn't feel anything. I was just a horrible person that just white-knuckled his way through work and came home and just sat and maybe watched a bit of telly, grumbled, and that was me. And I was quite obviously, and I'll never blame her for him. My partner had enough of that, so I had to leave. I got a flat back in Grange Park and started to think, I was still working, obviously, so I just thought I'd be all right to have a couple of drinks at dinner, a couple of drinks at night again. And before I knew it, I was back to square one, lost my job. I'm going to cut it short now because of where I am. Stuff for time. Yeah, so I lost my job, lost my flat. I'm going to go quickly on this. Lost my flat, lost everything, ended up self-preserving. The only way that I could carry on my alcohol addiction and my Valium addiction by this time was to start knocking around with extra dealers that I'd known from back in the day. They had money and they would buy me alcohol. So before I knew it, I was basically a heroin addict. I don't actually remember becoming a heroin addict properly. I just remember bits and bats of it. I was in such a state of alcohol and Valium. So before I knew it, I was a heroin addict that I thought I would never be. I ended up in intensive care. My sister was there. They'd been trying to help me for many years, and she just said it's your last chance. I ended up in intensive care because I had a seizure that they couldn't pull me out of it. It just kept going into one seizure after another. So she said, you either get yourself sorted or we're done with you. So I went into a flat in Blackpool and ended up on methadone my sister would bring a few cans round to this holiday flat that she'd got me in. It was shit, it was horrible. A little bit of methadone and a few cans just to stop me having a seizure, and so I ended up. She used to put nice food in my freezer from Marks and Spencer, so I ended up selling it on Blackpool Pond and buying white cider with it, and I couldn't take alcohol back to the place where she put me because I would get searched in. It was my sister's friend, so I ended up drinking for 3 or 4 months before getting rehab on the streets at Blackpool. I got up on the streets of Blackpool, retching up bile and crawling to the chemist to get my methadone and get myself sorted. Anyway, I got into Littledale and they sort of sorted me out. I'd been in and out of rehab to do that story and supported housing programs like you couldn't believe it. I've been in Harvey House 3 times. I've done a year in Bridge House. And there just wasn't the kind of support that there is now in them places. They just put you in them and that was it, basically, 1 group a week. So anyway, I did Littledale Hall. They did absolutely amazing with me. They got to the point of where I drank alcohol. They made me accountable for, gave me the kick up the arse that I needed. Then I went to Aldclyffe House, which is where Andrew now works, which was run by Acorn. Worked my way through there. I started volunteering with the Amy Winehouse. I did a lot of work with the Amy Winehouse Foundation. And I started volunteering with a friend of mine that you'll know, Pete, David McLaughlin, who got a brick fund to get Metamorphosis Cinema together. So I basically ran that cinema with David, and well, he mentored me into it at first, and I started doing a hell of a lot with the Open Cinema, which was amazing for me. Hell of a lot with the Amy Winehouse Foundation. I got myself a flat. And then I started volunteering at Walter Line House. So I started volunteering here. I started volunteering here, and Andrew was already working here. And my key worker from Aldclyffe was working here, and also a friend of mine was volunteering there at the same time that came through recovery with me, and that would be Lee, who had a completely different kind of addiction than I did. So we were both sort of started volunteering at the same time, and I started volunteering, and I just got settled in, and it just kind of blew me away. It's quite scary at first, but my manager was amazing. Lisa was amazing, and she mentored me into it and taught me and spent time with me with getting me used to computers and things like that, things that I wasn't so sure about. And there was a resident that came in a few days after I'd started really volunteering there, and he'd been entrenched homeless. He'd been living in this shed for I don't know how long. He had no living skills whatsoever, and I was allowed to, and this blew me away because I've been in a lot of supported housing projects and rehabs and things, and I was allowed to mentor him into town. So I mentored him into town. I took him to the doctors, took him around the shops, took him for coffee. Bring him back here, and we basically just settled him into the house. And I mentored that lad, all of us between us. But I because I was volunteer too, and I had the time to take him to the places that he needed and nurture him into Waterline House, and I basically nurtured him into being a pain in the ass. But from somebody that couldn't speak to anybody, he couldn't come out of his room to eat. We really didn't think he would last, and it's an amazing story. And we mentored him into being a pain in the arse, and then we turned him from being a pain in the arse to being a responsible adult that now has a flat and pays his bills and pays his rent, which to me
You're
was
up there making a difference, aren't you, Alex?
I'm not just saying this, but like I say, I've been in supported housing projects before, and I know they're a lot better now. But the fact that I was allowed to mentor them to the degree that I did, and the fact that my friend Lee, and this is the thing about Walter Line House, it deals with so many different types of addict, and it's such a day. And as you know, each recovery is so different.
Absolutely.
So at the same time, sorry.
Absolutely, and I know we're struggling for time, Alex, and I just wanted to bring you up to where you are today, really, because you're working full time now, aren't you?
Yeah. So if you can just say quickly, at the same time as I was doing that, Lee was supporting a girl that had basically been in addiction for about a year and just lost her job, and he was sort of mentoring her away from recovery, because the last thing she needed was just to land in that recovery in them recovery circles. She needed to get basically to a charity shop just to build her confidence up, and then to college to get some education for a job change. So I started working here as a volunteer, and then I started doing the caretaker role. I volunteered in the caretaker role, where Lisa allowed me to adapt the job into basically allowed me to start putting activities on in the evening. So we basically, I think we started with with Halloween. We do Halloween parties, all the Burns night parties. We believe in our residents learning how to actually enjoy events that just went over our head all our life. Most of the time we wouldn't have even known that they existed.
Are the guys watching tonight?
Sorry?
Are the guys watching tonight?
Are they watching?
Are they watching?
Yeah, there's probably a couple of them. I think, yeah, there's probably Joel's there. Shout out. And a shout out to the residents who've been amazing through the lockdown for us. The residents have been absolutely amazing. And that's why I'm so nervous, because my manager's watching, my manager's manager, my manager's managers me. And the CEO of Acorn that you've just mentioned.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Nicola. Are we talking about, who are we talking about now?
Nicola.
Yes, Nicola.
Yeah, and Lisa. And
Lisa.
Oh,
brilliant people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We've got a good crew there.
You have.
And we are, and if I can just stick it in quickly, that we the beauty of it is that we work for Acorn, which are a bigger thing than we are, and they work in, so they have things going on in the prisons. They deal with domestic abuse, male domestic abuse, which isn't dealt with by a lot of people at the moment. So we're interlinked with SafeNet, the domestic abuse place for women, and we basically run different recoveries for different people. So they can go the 12-step way if that's the way they and we think that they need.
That's what they are, a midpoint allegiance. You're like the midway marker, aren't you? And you've got a vast array of lots of different kinds of recovery that anyone can go and pick up.
Well, we have in-house groups, so we have relapse prevention groups, we have budgeting groups to teach them budgeting skills, and we also have very good links with the outside organisations, charity or professionals. So we signpost them to places like we work alongside the Citizens Advice Bureau, the college, Positive Futures. Yeah. We have a good dealings with all the different charity shops here. We work with all the different charity shops. And
you do some great work, and I'm just wondering who that is sat next to you.
That's Andrew. You're going to struggle getting me talking, stop me talking. I told you, didn't I, about Waterline House? Did you not give me long enough to tell you the amazing stuff that we do? Because it is truly unique.
In problem. It's like you need to have a regular slot then, don't you, Alex?
I could do it a little bit more time, to be honest. Yeah, because the nerves got a little bit better of me then, and I'll walk away from this now disgusted with myself because I forgot.
Don't beat yourself up. You've done amazing. Don't beat yourself up. Go easy, man. Don't be too hard on yourself.
We've got a baseline for you now.
Yeah,
so when you come on the speaker boot camp training, we can say, right, we've got something to work with.
Yeah.
Well, our residents go on speaker boot camp. Yeah. They come back off the first one saying they hate it, and then they come back off the second one saying it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. And then I have to look after them when you send them back.
Because Emma delivers the first one, and I deliver the second one.
Right. Excellent.
Nicholas, sometimes the truth stings. The truth stings sometimes. I'm just thinking of time-wise. Andrew, do you want to just do a quick name drop, who you are, what you do, and then do you want to come back on next week?
Yes. Right. I'm Andrew. I work at Old Cliff House and Portland Street in Lancaster. Old Cliff House is an 8-bed supported housing project. Portland Street is 4 beds. The criteria is homelessness. All the people who live there are referred through Lancaster City Council. We don't take referrals from anywhere else. Not everyone who comes to us is in active addiction or has had substance misuse problems, but a large percentage have. We're not abstinence-based, so it's very challenging working sort of frontline with people who have some very challenging behaviours. We give support around budgeting, life skills, tenancy-ready training. We liaise with mental health services, probation, and any service, any support that they need. If we can't deliver it, we'll signpost it to someone else who can. I'm in recovery myself. I was homeless and a broken man at 47. So that was only 6.5 years ago. So I do share that with people who come in who are struggling with addiction and still in the madness, and try to show that change is possible, and that if I can turn myself around, that they can as well. That's a quick version, really.
Where are you? Where's that you're talking about? What's it called?
Old Cliff House.
Old Cliff House.
Yeah, it's in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's 2 properties, Old Cliff House and Portland Street.
And how many people have got in there, Andrew?
12 in total.
12.
Yes, yeah.
It's hard you can't manage chaos, can you?
No, you can't. You can manage how you respond to it, really. That's about it.
I love that you say that. That's the only thing that you can manage, your response to that chaos, because you'll never manage chaos. Again,
but I mean, we have made differences in a lot of people's lives, you know.
Yeah.
Hasn't worked with everyone. We were new service 18 months ago, so we made mistakes, but hopefully we've learned.
But then again, Andrew, that depends on how you're measuring making the difference. Because like I said before, if you're even just the hope in the hopelessness for a couple of minutes, you've made an impact on somebody. You've planted some seeds somewhere. You know, listen, an outcome or success, or, you know, it doesn't have to be someone comes out of addiction and into recovery and is shiny. It might be that they're actually making steps to reduce the medication, or to not drink, to just have 4 cans instead of 5 today because I've been inspired. You know, I've had the hope shot.
As long as they're involved and they're in control of the direction they want to go in, our job is to support them there, isn't it? And, you know, gently challenge and nudge along the way. But sometimes some people, when they haven't got the basic, you know, roof over their head, it's like, you know.
I think you do some great work over there, and I do think you should come back on.
I do.
And I do think you definitely should come back on next week. But what we'll do is we'll start off with the guys. Yeah? Are you up for that, lads?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, yes.
And we've got a baseline now. So
when's the next one?
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We've gone over as usual, and we still haven't announced the competition, the winner of the competition. Glenn, who won the competition, mate?
So a lady called Angela Strong.
So
Angela Strong.
How did you get Angela's name?
So from the feed, from the likes and the shares, we've monitored who's done the likes, and then we put all them into a name generator, and Angela's come from that. So we've gone back to the likes and we've looked onto her Facebook profile.
So does she know she's won yet?
No.
And where does she live?
America.
Oh my God.
Do it again. You need to do it again.
Right, so that's postage and packaging then, isn't it?
Yeah. You'll have to authorise that, Pete.
Well, I don't think we can authorise post. It just won't get into the country, would it? It's like, you know, it's food. So.
A massive shout out to Angela Strong from America.
Touch base with her and ask her if she's happy to roll it on to next week, and then we'll have a £60 voucher.
60?
But if not, we
40?
could. Well, we've got 40 next week, but what was last week's price?
It was a sweet box.
Yeah. So 40 quid in the swing box.
So 40 quid in the sweet
Yeah.
box.
For sharing.
For
Woohoo!
liking and sharing.
Earning
And when
money.
you can like and share all the way up to next Thursday when the committee meet and the name check will be done. The committee meet on a Thursday, don't they, Glenn?
I'd say by evening Wednesday night.
Right.
So if you're watching this Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, you can still enter the competition by liking and sharing.
Yep.
But we probably should have said that at the beginning, not the end.
Well, we're getting there. We're learning as we go. Don't beat yourself up.
We are, and I just
Get it wrong. I remember what we got told about this. We got told that we
marginal
are.
gains.
Yes, so marginal gains, of course.
We are.
Tweak it every time. But we did get told we were unpredictable, authentic, and interesting. So I'm going to have that, and we stay as unpredictable as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But as we grow and develop, we will become more professional. And like Kennedy Street, we might have banners flashing across the screen with
Learning, yes.
information on
Yes.
soon.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
I don't know whether I like the word. I'm a bit uncomfortable about that word, professional. It's like, I am professional.
Okay.
Are you saying I'm not?
No, I am not. No, I am. As we become better. As
Refined.
we become refined.
Refined, okay.
Because it is professional what we do, isn't it?
Yeah, very. Just Glenn, have you got what's going on in the comments, love?
So a lot of the comments, Nicola Compton said that she's proud of both of you. Acorn have said that you're doing an amazing job.
Yes.
And there's a couple more.
Big mighty tree, them acorn boys growing to.
I know.
Big mighty oak men.
Big mighty oak men.
I've got a shout out to someone, but just let me get this because I need to pronounce it right. Somebody from Norway.
All regions in the house.
Yeah, all Jorgen Lindgren.
All Jorgen Lincoln.
Shout out to the northern.
I'll tell you that, whatever it means.
The Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis, yeah.
And Lynn Sutter's been in the house. Lorna, Oscar,
Love you guys.
Richard Borlands, Sophie. So hi to them as well.
Hi to the squad. Hi to our tribe.
Yeah, our tribe. Susie and Sophie, we love you. And do you know, they are so skilled when it comes to human resources. They've really changed my perception of HR, those guys.
Somebody had to.
I know.
And they did a good job.
They have, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've really helped us as an organisation. So, because I know other organisations might want to tap into that
resource,
similar support. Susie and Sophie.
Well, they're out there,
Salt
aren't
of
they?
the earth. Yeah. Well, touch base with us. We'll connect you in if you need it.
Okay.
Or go on the website, hit the like and share button, sign up as a member, and just touch base.
Okay, I want to say we have run over time. I've loved having you all in my front room tonight. Phil, you look really like you're driving a train on the back seat there.
Phil's going to play us out with a song, isn't he?
Come on, get the guitar out, dude. Good man. Okay, listen, my people, I love you all. It's so nice to have had you all in the house, and we're going to pick up a conversation with the Kennedys.
We're going to stalk you. You're going to be sorry the day we met you because we're not going to leave you alone.
So, Phil, give us a tune.
Okay. Right. Stone Roses, this is the
Yes!
Hey! Now you're talking.
Yes.
one. Right, here we go. Oh, hang on. Blown it straight away. Oh, nerves, huh?
Enjoy it, Phil. Remember, you're awesome.
Right. Here we go. plans that she has made. I have her on a promise, immerse me in your splendor. All the plans that I have made. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. Oh, this is the one I've waited for. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. Oh, this is the one I've waited for. I'd like to leave the country for a month or some days, burn the town where I was born. If only she believes me, they'll own her, they'll adore her, burn me out or bring me home. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. Oh, this is the one I've waited for. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one I've waited for. This is the one. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one I've waited for. Yes. Thank you.
Phil, you need Emma in your band, mate.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm on my way. I'm en route, darling. I'm coming.
Yeah. Oh, you like the songs we do.
I know.
Right, we've come to the end of the show, guys. Thanks for we've gone over again, haven't
Big
we? As
love.
ever.
Big love.
We never have long enough to spend time with you guys. Never. Thank you so much for sharing your time with the community, with us, and stay blessed.
Give a hope
Yeah.
shot when you can. Love you guys.
Bye bye.
See you soon.
You all stay safe.
Bye bye.